Hello, my name is Barbara Wainwright, and I am the CEO and founder of Wainwright Global Institute of Professional Coaching. And today I'm here with Jacqueline Pina, and I am so honored to introduce you to her. Jacqueline Piña is a proud Crow tribal member. As a child, Jacqueline was named Sacred Tobacco Woman. It was Jacqueline's beloved grandmother who taught her the wisdom and power of faith and love. Jacqueline moves through the world inspired by her heritage and trust in Creator. As an active path seeker, her passion is to explore the realms of faith and spiritual practice to transform lives. Jacqueline helps those suffering from the effects of transgenerational trauma. A dedicated humanitarian and lifelong learner, her heart for service began in her youth. Presently, Jacqueline serves as founder and CEO of One Heart Community Center, promoting entrepreneurship for women. As a spiritual life coach, Jacqueline has been entrusted with many sacred stories. She dedicates her life to speak light over the power of fear. Jacqueline served as an editor for the Native American site at bellaonline.com, publishing articles on historical trauma and finding peace through Native wisdom. In 2009, Jacqueline experienced intense spontaneous healing from an addiction resulting from unresolved childhood grief. And I just want to say, welcome, Jacqueline, and thank you so much for joining me. And
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
thank you. And thank you for being a contributing author to the Power of Life Coaching.
It was my honor. Thank you for sharing the platform and your life and your space with us. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I'd love to hear, is there something else you'd like to share? We've read quite a bit about your background, but is there anything else you'd like to share about your background? I mean, you have such a rich and diverse background, especially with your ability in education and creating curriculum and those kinds of things.
Well, thank you so much. It just, the older you get, the more profound that question is, and for just different reasons. It just, I don't feel old, but I feel like I've lived a lot. So those type of questions, I just don't know where to start. How far back do I go?
Right.
And then the perspective is so much, I don't want to say higher, I'm not way up here, but it's just a broader perspective, I guess. The scope and sequence of your life, the span really comes into focus in panoramic view versus, in short term right now. So my background is in education as far as my professional background. But as a teacher, that's your personal life as well, because you connect with the people that you meet and the families that you share with your students, no matter how old they are. So coaching just really lends itself right into teaching. So it just melds really well. So I just really feel a comfort zone there.
I love
And I guess that's my story. It's as a teacher. It's the backdrop of everything and the foundation of everything I do.
that's lovely. And I can so relate. Teaching is so rewarding. I love doing that. So, what
Thank
made
you.
you decide to become a life coach?
Well, it all had to do with healing, personal, very, very, very personal healing. And my healing was spontaneous. And that is what I was so honored to share and appreciative of sharing in the chapter of The Power of Life Coaching, Volume 4. So I shared that I was ready and I was already seeking healing. But as addictions go of any type, we are powerless. And mine just happened spontaneously, miraculously overnight, the whole shebang. But then I was left with the emotional healing to look at and to heal. So I just started with myself and just started researching. And that's how I came upon coaching. And that's how it happened for me.
That's outstanding. So sometimes when we're looking for the answers, we find things like another course to take that can help us on our journey. I love that.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And it was a little different. I had tried and still credit traditional psychotherapy or traditional counseling, traditional Western medications, that type of thing. But
Mhm.
for me, coaching was in between that. It was not, say, counseling, say, from church or a pastor, that type of thing, which
Yeah.
again, I credit to those. But it was something in between the traditional psychology and, say, spiritual work.
All right. So what difference has coaching made in your life?
I would say coaching, at the risk of sounding very dramatic, but it is dramatic. Life and death is a dramatic topic. So
Yeah.
I would say it saved my life. And I would say that it saves the lives of others because a lot of coaching is founded in, our own thinking. That's why I became so comfortable with it right away as a teacher and already as a seeker and a healer of myself in that sense.
Yes.
Um, you can best bet that I did look up a lot of psychological type books and that type of help and went that route as far as seeking help, which is it all had its place, but coaching really um anchored me because it really taught in the now, so to speak, in the moment right now,
Yeah.
not so much what is your story from far back, which that still can be worked on if need
Yes.
be, but it hooked on to thinking now and thinking about our thinking. The meta part is what I really liked, and
Yeah.
I like the background still, even though we don't mention it to our clients as much or advertise it as much that way. I like how it's hooked into the behavioral cognitive teachings and format
Yeah.
because it's our behaviors that we're trying to work on and heal and our reactions, and then what are we thinking and
Yeah.
what are our root beliefs. And a lot of times we don't even know, most people don't know what they are in whatever categories of life.
So
So
true.
all of that is healing, and all of
Yeah.
that is emotional healing, and all of that happens, in our minds. So that's a lot of stuff.
So
Um,
true. So true.
and it was natural for me to go into the spiritual realm, so to speak, with that, with the teachings. It's not religious of any kind. I'm not that organized. In my personal life, I have my own beliefs. But for this coaching, I was comfortable in that area too because it's teaching us about how we think.
Yes, and that's so key. Really, if you think about it, there it is. But if you
Hmm.
think about it, our whole life is driven
Hmm.
by the thoughts that we're thinking. So it becomes very
Right,
important to become aware of what's going on in there. So,
right. And
um,
that takes skill, that
yeah,
takes teaching,
it does.
really does. Probably even like in the late 90s, Eckhart Tolle, once I realized the power of now and just becoming conscious with just the teachings of mindfulness, that just really it let me honor the moment for what it is. And not having been taught that, I just really knew that that was a turning point for me in my healing. And I really wanted to teach it to others, I guess, just as a teacher. In certain ways, I was able to teach it to some of the young adults that I was working with at the time.
I love
And I know it made a big difference for them. And I just thought if someone had taught me that in
right.
adolescence, maybe, or as a young adult, I don't know if I would have listened at the time, but it sure would have helped.
Yes.
So and I know it works in young people because I've witnessed that.
Yeah.
So it's all good. It's all good teaching.
Yeah, it
And
is.
it's all good coaching. And it's coaching, and we forget to tie that in. We sometimes, it's a cliche coaching, and other than thinking of it maybe in physical sports, physical athletics, and that type of coaching. Even
Yeah.
coaches need coaches. I need coaching,
Yeah.
but we all need that coaching. It's just support. It's someone wanting the very best for you. It's someone wanting you to win.
Yeah.
It's someone showing you strategies on how to get there and stay focused.
Yes.
It's all of that. And
Yes.
the street between, say, the athlete and the coach.
Yeah.
So with our clients, they need to really come ready and be in the game.
Yes, get in the
So
game. Oh my gosh, that's so true. So, who is it that you really like to work with as who would be your ideal client?
it's turned into women. It's turned from, say, when I worked in homeless shelters, a lot of times it was one-on-one, even in larger groups. When I did speak with women, it did end up pretty much one at a time. And then on the street, that definitely was one-on-one at the time, just softly spoken, no
Yeah.
cameras, no, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is what I did today type thing. So all of that was very quiet work. And that was with women of all ages, young women on the streets as young as 18. I'm meaning anywhere from classroom size 30 at a time to larger seminar size or some public speaking, maybe a gym size, 200 people in a room, that type of thing.
Yeah.
But again, women, and again, of all ages. I would like to start working with youth in many ways. But again, that would be probably young women. But I'm open to working with all people, with all ages. I love it all. But the coaching seems to be geared towards strengthening women and strengthening them together.
Yeah.
Now it's in community and unity that I feel more drawn to right now. And that's the basis of the community center.
Yeah.
Coaching is my shingle, my comfortable
Yes.
thing that I hang up as an educator. Like I said, that's why I went into and chose coaching. But it's more than that. We're teaching, we're providing educational classes so that we can uplift local business women and entrepreneurs. But all ties in. So there'll be some business coaching involved. We'll pull in some experts and have them help us as mentors and
I
speakers
love
and
that.
teachers.
Yep.
Our space is open to other teachers, not just us.
So
So
outstanding. That is so outstanding. I
thank
was
you.
wondering if you have a client success story that you would like to share.
I did think about that, and there are a few through the years that have gone all the way or full circle, so to speak. But the one that really speaks to me the most is just in recent years, within maybe 2 years ago or so. And that was probably one of the last clients that I worked with
Mm,
in the streets, as we say. I don't
wow,
know if that's the best term to use, but that's where we are when these interactions are happening, when this coaching happens.
nice.
And it was of a young woman, and she was 18. She is 18 years old. She's probably 20, 21 now.
Wow.
But at the time, she was 18. And I learned early on with working with the unsheltered that the protocol, the social protocol is different. You don't walk up and ask them their names. A lot of times they're not using their real names. They don't want to go by their real names.
That
There's
makes
just
sense.
many reasons and to respect in that way. So anyway, that being said, I always let them know my nickname is Sage. And so I just chatted with her for a moment and she was open to chatting. So it was, just a few things that we said to each other that day, but I was able to encourage her. And part of being a coach is encouraging. So my intent and my heart was to just share some hope with her, just hope, because I've learned that that's the pivotal point on the battlefield is hope.
Yeah,
If you're looking towards hope, you're going to be okay, because if you're looking the other way, that's fear. So if you can even just look that way, you're hooked on, and keep looking that way.
yeah.
So, we only spoke for maybe 5 minutes, maybe. It was very short. And I didn't want to invade her space, but she was on the ground. She
Mm,
was sitting on the ground outside of a grocery store and she was trying to make it. She was really trying to make it and she was crying. And so I spoke with her then. And just when I was ready to leave, she looked up and her face just brightened. And it's almost like she was fresh again.
yeah.
And she very happily said, and she seemed like a little girl again. And she said, "My name is Ashley." And I'll never forget that. And the way she said it was just like,
Oh my gosh, how precious. How
so I
precious.
think that moment was a success.
Yes, I mean you touched her and she touched you right back. And that's the beauty of coaching is it goes both ways. We feel it as much as they do, you know.
Right.
That's amazing. Well, I'm sure that after listening to you speak for a moment, that there are plenty of people that would be interested in knowing how to get in touch with you, what the best way to reach out to you would be so that they can connect with you and
Thank you.
glean some of your wisdom because there's certainly a lot there.
Oh, I would love that. I'm trying to take things online so that we can touch more people and share with more people and learn from more people. I keep talking about that I'm a teacher, but above all, I'm a learner and I love to learn. And I'm always learning. And I don't think that'll ever stop. So I love talking to people and just listening to stories. And we all meet at the same path of, say, happiness or joy, sadness, grief,
Yeah.
fear, all of those things, no matter what language you speak, no matter what your background is, none of that. I can remember being a young military wife in Spain in the early 80s. And some of us would be out there playing the card game Uno that
Yeah.
is just by color and by number. And we would be playing with the local neighbors who were anywhere from our age to their 80s around a table, maybe 15 of us, and playing Uno until the wee hours of the morning and just having a blast. And we all met at the Road of Joy. Not many. There were maybe a couple of us in there that spoke both Spanish and English, but not many. And it did not matter at all. And we just were joyful all night for hours together. And then the same thing, our grief, our collective grief brings us together. And again, it doesn't matter who we are, we meet there. So I think that being said, the level of coaching is most successful at the most basic level of human nature.
Yeah.
And those are our emotions.
Thank you. So, would you say going to your website, by the way, is beautiful, sacredtobaccowoman.com, just like it says.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Uh, yes, and sacred, as it says in my bio, Sacred Tobacco Woman is my native name given from my side of the family, my Crow family. I was just a young girl when I got that name, and I always knew I had it, but I just didn't really know what it meant. I'm still trying to step into that role, but I do know that sacred tobacco is a sacred herb, and I feel like in the spiritual realm, and in my prayers and in my personal life and my personal healing and faith, that I'm able to, sacred tobacco is burned and our prayers are lifted within that smoke. The smoke is a vehicle
Oh,
up to the heavens that
beautiful.
lift our prayers. So maybe a bridge between earthly things, the things we go through every day to survive, those type of things. I can be a bridge to those things which are higher, a higher perspective, renew our strength where the eagles fly, think differently, learn different ways to believe,
Love.
therefore learn different ways to live. And that takes skill. So all of that ties back into the coaching and the teaching and the love. So I think that the name Sacred Tobacco Woman has something to do with the path that I'm on.
I love.
And who are we? Who are any of us? But I'm happy for that name now. I
Yeah.
was a teenager and thought, wow, why couldn't I have a name like Lily floating down the river or something? And it wasn't that way. And my teacher friends in recent decades, when I started using the name professionally, when I started writing for BellaOnline.com and looking into Native wisdom, I had to relearn it just because we have Native blood indigenous to this land doesn't mean we know our history. There's
Mm,
a history to that. But so I had to, look at things myself and do some research. And since I was seeking peace, that was a really good place to start. And that's how I started writing about it because so many things tied right back into either scripture or Buddhist teachings. All of the great teachings
mm,
teach love and peace and unity,
yes.
and those are the places where we have to get to before we can even think about healing. So I think that's my main message, and that's my main call to action for people is to, if they're really seeking on their own, it has to start there first. And then that's where you seek help from others. And the help is there. We're there. And I use sacredtobaccowoman.com or Sacred Tobacco Woman at Gmail. Those will get you to my coaching page.
I love.
Right now, I am doing community work. I've opened a community center,
Yes.
and that's a different website and a different email. But I'm choosing to keep all of these things that are in the personal coaching or um, in the spirit and the spiritual coaching side with the Sacred Tobacco Woman. And my teacher friends love the name Sacred Tobacco Woman, but they asked if they could shorten it to Sage. And being sage is still a sacred herb, shorter. And
Yeah.
at the time, I thought I could deal with that. I like that. So it stuck. So
Yeah.
my nickname is Sage also. So I'm rich in names.
Yes, yes, I love that. Sage is such a beautiful herb, so cleansing and healing. So that's very appropriate for
Mhm.
you.
Yeah, I think sweetgrass still would have been a little long. So
Yes,
sage is short.
yes.
So
So
that's the history of Sacred Tobacco Woman, and I use it. I'm stepping into the honor of using it.
I love it. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience before we sign off?
Just to hang on to hope,
Mm,
just to hope. It's all about hope, and then you just move up from there. Everything else is better from there. Joy is at the top, peace is up there too.
yeah,
But sometimes we just have to start with hope. So anything that brings you hope, look that way.
beautiful. Thank you so much. It's been an honor to have you here. I'm just
Thank
so
you.
delighted to have had the time with you, and I look forward to staying connected.
Always,
Well,
always, Barbara, always. And I look forward to meeting many new friends.
yes.